When you think of the great romances in X-Men comics, a few names probably jump to mind: Cyclops and Jean Grey, Gambit and Rogue, Kitty Pryde and Colossus. But there's another, far more complicated and controversial relationship that often gets overlooked: the one between Rogue and Magneto. It's a story of power, manipulation, and a surprising amount of genuine affection. So, how did this unlikely pair ever get together? Let's dive in. Their story truly begins in the savage land, that prehistoric paradise hidden in Antarctica. After Rogue passes through the Siege Perilous, a mystical portal, she emerges separated from her powers and her memories. It's here that she's found by Magneto, who has also retreated to the savage land to live a quieter life. He finds a vulnerable Rogue, and instead of taking advantage, he nurses her back to health. Without her powers, Rogue is just a young woman, and she sees a different side of Magneto, not the master of magnetism, but a charismatic and protective man named Eric. For a while, they were happy. They fell in love in this isolated world, far from the conflicts of mutants and humans. Magneto was drawn to Rogue's strength and spirit, and Rogue found in him a powerful figure who saw her as more than just her dangerous abilities. This was a Magneto who was tired of fighting, and a Rogue who was finally free. But of course, this peace couldn't last. The outside world eventually came crashing in. When Saladhane, the High Priestess of the savage land, starts causing trouble, Magneto is forced to step back into his old role. The conflict brings back Rogue's powers, but with a terrible twist. She also absorbs the powers and psyche of Carol Danvers, the original Ms. Marvel, once again. This internal struggle tears her apart, and her idyllic romance with Magneto begins to fracture. To make matters worse, the X-Men arrive, and seeing Rogue with their greatest enemy is a massive shock. The tension comes to a head when Magneto kills Saladhane in cold blood right in front of Rogue. The act is brutal, a stark reminder of the man he truly is. For Rogue, it's a deal-breaker. She sees that the man she fell in love with is inseparable from the ruthless ideal. She can't reconcile the gentle man she knew in the savage land with this killer. Heartbroken, she leaves him and returns to the X-Men. But their story doesn't end there. Over the years, their paths cross again and again. There's a constant push and pull, a what-if that hangs between them. Magneto often shows a soft spot for Rogue, a lingering affection that complicates his role as a villain. And Rogue, despite everything, can't completely erase the connection they shared. This dynamic was even explored in the Age of Apocalypse storyline, where, in an alternate reality, they were married and had a child, leading the X-Men together. It shows that under different circumstances, their love could have flourished. The relationship between Rogue and Magneto is a fascinating look at how love can bloom in the strangest of places, and how our true natures can ultimately tear it apart. It adds layers of complexity to both characters, showing a more vulnerable side of Magneto and a more mature, conflicted side of Rogue. It's a messy, tragic, and utterly captivating part of X-Men history. What do you think of this pairing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into X-Men lore, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.